Perpetual Chess is brought to you in part by Chessmood.com. Here is what Chessmood offers. It is a subscription-based website that provides a comprehensive opening repertoires both for white and for black. They also have middle game and end game videos from their cast of professional Grandmaster trainers. They also have some free content that you can check out. Grandmaster Avcek Grigorian, who's their founder, and you can hear on episode 192 of Perpetual Chess, has a blog where he writes about common challenges for tournament players that you can check out for free. And they also started offering free YouTube videos called Daily Lessons with the Grandmaster. So go to their website, check out what they have to offer, and be sure to subscribe to their YouTube as well. And let's get back to the interview. And we are back with another guest in our special IM to GM feature. And this guest is a 42-year-old Hungarian international master, dad, and chess trainer. He became an IM in 1997 at the age of 18 and was also the Hungarian junior champion in 1998, the subsequent year. He also started as a chess trainer at age 16, and that has been his primary emphasis chess-wise since then. He's an active blogger on chess.com. His blog is called, actually, Road to Grandmaster. And recently he has redoubled his efforts to improve his chess strength and hopefully chase the GM title. He's been working with grandmasters like RB Ramesh and Rustam Kashimjanov, both of whom have been on the show, by the way. Now he's got his first GM Norm tournament coming up a couple weeks from the time we're recording. But if this is released when I think it will actually be ongoing. So we look forward to tracking his progress in that event and many more to come. But without further ado, let's bring in our guest. I am Attila Turzo. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much for being able to join you.
Yeah, I'm excited to track your journey, to live vicariously through you, Attila. For one thing, you, Lawrence Trent, Sean Nagle, all obviously strong players, different stations in life. But being that you're the oldest of the three people that we'll be interviewing, you're 42, I'm 44, I think I identify with you the most. And it's such a daunting goal. I know you've been over 2,400 FIDE, but now you're at 2,300. So a lot of rating points to gain, a lot of work to do. So why now, Attila? What makes you decide to pull the trigger on this daunting task?
Time to time, I was thinking to try to do it, but somehow life was always in the middle, and starting a family and then doing some other stuff. Like 2 years ago, when I was 40, actually, then I was somehow, the age was the signal, I think, for me. So I said, okay, it's like soon we'll be out of the top four. Probably already the top players are maybe nowadays became much younger and younger, I think, when they are in their top form. But there are some encouraging players like maybe Vishy Anand, who even when was 50 years old was still in the top 10. So I hope there are some hope. But yeah, age was, I think, the primary thing to decide to let's take a last and biggest effort, which I was maybe lazy in previous times to do.
I did some recon. I watched, you've been doing this amazing feature where you and esteemed trainer Grandmaster RB Ramesh, who of course has been on the show and has launched a chess academy. You guys are streaming lessons that you do together, which are available on YouTube, or you can catch them on Twitch live. I'll put the links to when you can catch them in the show description. But I saw your interview with RB Ramesh, and you mentioned, one of them, and you mentioned that you felt like despite your successes, despite your having been one of the top juniors in your day as a junior in Hungary and having won the junior championship, you felt like you didn't work that hard on chess at that point. Is that true? And why do you think that is, if so?
Actually, in that time, I was very much interested about spirituality. So I was doing yoga. I started to become a vegan, and somehow I was very much concentrated on the meaning of life and psychology and different philosophies I was reading and practicing. And somehow, in one stage of the life, I was thinking, okay, I just wanted to concentrate on enlightenment, about these kind of things. And for that actually was became a. Also, I was asked to be a chess coach very, very early. So that was, I think, also another important point. And it made me busy. So from that point, it somehow, I had like an inner conflict. I was thinking I cannot be like a good chess trainer and also a good chess player in the same time. And somehow I needed some more time to decide on this. It should be possible to at least some extent. So it's not a hopeless effort to be good in both. Because there are some very strong players who also they are coaches and they still play. But somehow it was for me like chess, like black and white. So I could not believe in the middle is possible, or some maybe 80% to 20 or 70 to 30. But I was thinking like 100% one or the other.
Yeah, I think a lot of the trainers that have come on the show over the years have lamented that it's really hard to work on your game when you're a chess trainer, because often when you're done with your work responsibilities, you kind of want to escape from chess. So Attila, you mentioned that you're a vegan. You've also been posting on Twitter these pictures of you running every day, working on physical training. Are you still a vegan today?
Yeah. Like in the last how many years? Like last 16 years, I was vegan.
Okay.
So I hope this can be maybe also a plus actually, because I feel this has some health benefits. So it's like the longevity of maybe the efforts can be helpful. Also, I am running. I make meditation every day.
Wow, very healthy.
So try to, but also this is kind of like an experience for myself, because I was really into this like self-help ideas and how to maximize the potential of a human. And this is actually kind of like, for me, it's an experiment, how to do also the chess stuff, but I want to use all the other aspects which I can put in to maximize the result.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be really interesting to see. I mean, of course, friend of the show, Grandmaster Ben Feingold, somewhat famously made Grandmaster at 40 in terms of making it the traditional route where someone earns three norms and attains the 2500 rating. But it's extremely rare for someone to make it in the 40s, and you've got a big hill to climb, because you're 2,300 FIDE, so you'd have to gain 200 points. Now, I'm sure it helps that you've been stronger in the past. And correct me if I'm wrong, you're starting at 0 norms too, right?
Yes, yeah, that's true. It was also, I think, some kind of mental shift, which actually looks like I started to experience actually like 2 years ago when I was 40. Because before, what happened when, time to time I played tournaments, but like in the last 25 years, I did not really play tournaments. I played most like in team events or sporadically one international master tournaments here and there, where I was asked as an international master player to join like a round robin tournament to make the norms possible for other players. But that was not big effort. But before, when I played like in Grandmaster tournament, I played a few Grandmaster tournaments in my life, not much. When I became an international master, then I think I played like in 2 Grandmaster tournaments. And I remember I played like 2 years ago one. I don't know if I played any other, but somehow how happened with my chess, normally against the players who were my strength, or like rating-wise, or maybe like 50 points higher, I had a very, very high score against them. So usually much higher than which would be expected. And lower-rated players, I had always very high performance. But players who was maybe more than 50 points than higher, I lost a lot. So very, 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 very bad effort. And even against when I was, 2300, if I played like somebody 2370, nearly always lost. But against like 2300s or lower, it is I nearly always won. So it was some really strange thing. Like, again, this black and white point of view, as you can see in other stuff in my life, I was thinking that I win or lose. Also in my style was very much something like that. So I was very aggressive and very much playing for the win from my very early age. And this somehow changed when I started to make this effort 2 years ago to start to train. I started to win like in blitz against grandmasters. And somehow that made like a change. And one interesting thing was when I was able to win against Hikaru Nakamura game with kind of like a good positional effort. So it's not something he blundered, but I got a winning position. And then it was funny because he was winning on time, so he was much quicker than me. And I had an extra knight, and I had only like 1 second left, and he moved into a checkmate actually in the end.
Oh,
so
wow.
But the interesting was, we could say this was like kind of luck. But in the next week, I played with MLV, another Blitz game. And again, I got a winning position against him also. I lost that game later in the time trouble, but that was somehow showing it. So, interesting, I could have some chance against these strong players, against Grandmasters. And in the last year, in the end of the year, I played the tournament. Actually, maybe that was the sign somehow I decided to make the last effort, if you asked in the beginning why. Because there I still started pretty well, like 5.5 out of 7 games. And I won against the Grandmaster over 25-40. So that was my best effort. And then I lost the last 4 games in that tournament, so that did not finish that well. But that gave me actually the power to decide to make this really an effort because I played really good in the beginning, and then I did not manage time well and make some calculation mistakes. So I said, if it's possible to play so well, then I should have a chance, and I should give my best effort.
Yeah, makes sense. You don't want to spend your life wondering like what could have been. So might as well go after it. Now, supporter and friend of the show, Aaron Holloway Nahum, wrote in just looking for some insight that I think a lot of listeners will be looking for, which is most people listening to this are not IMs, of course. That's pretty high up, on the chess ladder. So to a lot of listeners, it might be kind of hard to grasp what separates you from, say, a 2600 Grandmaster, and what separates IMs generally from GMs. So how do you think about that question? I mean, it sounds like part of it from what you're saying is consistency. But what else do you think you personally need to improve? And what generally is your observation when you play a GM as compared to an IM? Is there something that stands out in terms of differentiating them?
I think it really depends on the person, because this is also a challenging task for me as a chess trainer. Actually, if I was teaching a player who is maybe 1800 or 2000 or 1400, and there are different skills in chess, maybe like 10 different skills, and you can be like, and the average of those skills makes actually your rating. So in my case, I think a very special thing. What I recognized also earlier, my big weakness is the calculation. So it feels like, when like I am maybe like already like in a Grandmaster level, I think many times in positional understanding of the game. Like, so I play like a 2600, I think, in positional chess, but I play maybe like a 2100 in calculation.
That's a long way to go if you're at 2100. So I saw. Yeah, I saw you mention that to Grandmaster Ramesh, and I know he prescribed 2 Kubel studies. Kubel, for those who don't know, is a famous endgame composer, one of the best in history, and his are pretty challenging. So he said 2 Kubel studies a day, 30 minutes per study, right? And write down every variation. Do I have that right?
Yeah. They are very challenging, actually.
Yeah, it hurt just to watch that. I was like, well, that's why I'm not. That's why I'm not trying to make IM, let alone GM. Yeah. So have you been? So I think that video was about a month old. Have you been following that prescription? Dare I ask?
Actually, not all.
I won't tell Ramesh.
Actually, I did more easier puzzles, like more puzzles, but less hard, because what I recognize is I'm already like into solving easier puzzles also make me challenging. So what I decided to do, to first going up to the level where easier to deal with those Kubel puzzles. So randomly I do that also, but I did not do. But probably what I was thinking in the last couple of days, I will start to do that. So at least like the last last week before the tournament, I will get back to that, because I feel the difference absolutely when I am doing those. It makes, as how Ramesh said, try to make like 5 times harder the training session than the real game will be. So then the real game will be much easier to deal with.
Yeah, Ramesh gave the common but sage advice that chess learning happens outside of your comfort zone. So, in addition to or aside from Kubel, what studies or what calculation exercises did you decide to do?
Actually, there is a series of book called Slavin. It's a Russian author. I got actually those puzzles from the books from a friend in a PGN file. It's like a series of maybe 9 books with puzzles. It's starting from absolutely beginners. I use it also for students. I recommend, because the good thing about this, it goes from absolutely beginners maybe to like 2200 level or something like that, or maybe even higher. I am not that yet. I mean, not solving the really hard puzzles. So I decided to actually last year, so I am hopefully will be now concentrating more it's like around 5,000 puzzles to go over from those, and then going for Kubel, and probably later we'll go also with some of the Agard books.
Okay. And do you speak Russian? I'm just looking up Slavin, and I'm not seeing it available in English. Or is it in Hungarian?
No, I don't speak. No, actually, I just get in a PGN file the puzzles.
Yeah, you mentioned that, which of course, as a trainer, it's great to have the PGN files as well. And for listeners who don't know, PGN files means like it's on your chess database, so it's an easy way to cycle through them. So you're doing those puzzles from Slavin. Did you run that by Grandmaster Ramesh or Grandmaster Kazimjanov? Or, I mean, generally, my opinion is the important thing is to do the work. It's less important which exact puzzles it is. But just out of curiosity, did you ask them about those?
No, not yet.
Okay, and so of course you're ramping up for a tournament as we record this, which is going to. Hopefully, often someone will really try to step up their training regimen in leading up to a tournament. But how many hours are you managing to spend studying today, considering that obviously life doesn't get put on hold just because you have a tournament coming up?
Yeah, it's my thing is like at least 1 hour of calculation training. I'm doing that now every day. So that's the minimum which I want to do. Then also, I am part of this pro chess training group. So like with Kashimzanov, Rustam also, that's actually a group training sessions.
Okay.
Which also Ramesh organizing that. So there's like 4 sessions every week, around 1.5 hour average, or 1.5 or 2 hours. So that's another maybe like 1 hour a day. So that's around 2 hours of that's the minimum. And then time to time I can add some more. Our original goal was to have like 3 hours every day. It's not yet there. I am not yet there.
Okay. And are you having to reshift things in your life? You mentioned before we started recording, your daughter is 5 years old. Obviously, with the pandemic, everyone's family balance is thrown out of whack. So I don't know if she's going to school or daycare or not. Are you having to like carve out time and turn down lessons, or like how are you arranging to do 3 hours a day, which is like, that's like 25% or 20% of someone's waking hours each day. So it's a big commitment.
Yeah, it's fortunately the kindergarten is still working here in Hungary, even in the pandemic. So my daughter can go there, and yeah, somehow it's challenging, but. The other biggest challenge in my chess and in my life is time management, actually. So those are the 2 things: time management and calculation.
Yeah, I saw you discussing that with Ramesh. So you had an interesting observation that you are a bit of a time trouble addict when you play chess. You often get short on time in your games, and you feel that that also carries through to other aspects of your life, which I hadn't thought about because I've mentioned before, I've also had many a struggle with time trouble. And I did also used to be kind of a chronically late person. So I hadn't thought about that. It was Ramesh, of course, said that's primarily a psychological issue, not a chess issue. So how are you going to address it? And how should I?
Actually, I started to do that. It's in Blitz games, actually. But I don't know, maybe from one of the books from Dvoretsky I read, where Botvinnik said about this exercise to concentrate on on that time there was no increment, so that was maybe easier, but like divide the 2 hours which you have for 40 minutes in that time that was to like equal things like 3 minutes per move, and you should look like after 10 moves you should not think more than 30 minutes, and then after 50, so to try to always think less than what you have, and then maybe if you gain some extra time, then you can use for certain moments, but not going out of that zone, like this out of that border of time. And actually I started to use that actually in Blitz games, because I'm just playing Blitz games nowadays, even like the Title Tuesday or other games. It looks like I don't get that much now on time travel, actually. It's really interesting. So somehow I need to give up my perfect salesman. So I cannot make like perfect moves. I just try to make good enough moves.
Yeah, kind of like Grishuk famously is an amazing blitz player, but if you give him 2 hours, he'll use them all on the first 25 moves, no matter what. So yeah, it's interesting how there can be sort of that dichotomy.
But these rules make these rules, I think somehow this had me. So I try to look also this time and say, okay, when I'm down 1 minute, I need to play like 10 moves in the Blitz game or something. I don't remember what was the last time when I was thinking about it, but to make this rule and first, maybe in the several games, try to just follow the rules. So not the quality of the game is important, but to build up this habit to say yourself, okay, now stop, you need to make a move. No matter if you did not figure out the best move, you need to make a move.
And you feel like you're making progress with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we will look if it's in the long time total game, how it goes. But in the Blitz games, actually, it has.
That's great. And I know I want to, first of all, thank you and congratulate you, because I know you beat my friend IM Greg Shahade in Title Tuesday 6 weeks back or so. So I always like to see Greg lose.
Well, it was one of my better games, actually. I was really, really happy about that. It's a long, that was another thing when I played with a very strong player, or, 200 points maybe was higher than me, like in Blitz rating. And I was managed to, in a long game, actually, that's also one of the big positive changes in my game, actually, in the last couple of months. I don't crack under the pressure much later. Like I played also with Pragnon on the training game in this Pro Chess League. And
oh, wow. That's a scary thought.
Yeah, and that was really interesting. And after maybe 25 moves, I blundered a pawn, but I did not crack. And we played a long endgame, and only like after maybe 60 moves in the time trouble, I lost in equal games. So I was managed to still save the game. So that's a very big change over what it was before, because many times when I was in bad position, I cracked, especially against stronger players. But now it feels like even strong players, I can keep my game.
Wow. Yeah. And Pragananda, of course, legendary already. The kid's a teenager, but Indian prodigy who is one of R.B. Ramesh's star students. So I'm excited for you, Attila. So you mentioned you're naturally or through prior chess learning. I know you said, and you've said elsewhere and written about the fact that you had many coaches growing up. You're a strong positional player. Need a lot of work on your calculation. What's the status of your openings?
That's a big challenge, actually, because I was teaching the last 25 years in my life. I was playing and teaching nearly all kind of openings, because when somebody comes to me with the new openings which I did not play before, then I am making big researches and build up kind of like a repertoire for that. So I am still like in the stage like I have all the opening but no opening. So,
right, yeah, everything's like a 7 out of 10 or something. Yeah.
So I am I made some decisions also for the tournament, but still I'm not really sure or I want to play many different openings. This is something which, I really, as good you asked me, because I need to make like this decision, because time travel is also there. But one more thing I want to do, I have now the players who will play in the tournament, so I will now look all the players what they're playing. So probably depends on that. I will make my decision which openings to play and which to focus on, to maybe in the last week to maybe review a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah. And the last sort of major topic I wanted to hit, of course, we could go for a long time, but as I mentioned, since there's going to be 3 interviews, we're going to try to not have a 5-hour hardcore history-esque podcast. So you get to play in the famed First Saturday tournaments in Hungary, where many grandmasters have attained norms. It's a rare, globally, it's a special place to live near. Could you tell listeners who aren't familiar a little bit about those tournaments and also, well, let's stop there for now. Could you tell our listeners about those tournaments?
Yeah, those tournaments were started, I think, around 25 years ago, or maybe a little bit more, by a chess player who became a chess organizer. He's around like a 21,000, it's like an expert level player, who was originally like a teacher, actually, like an engineer and teacher, Laszlo Nagy. And the tournaments, actually, there are 3 tournaments every month. The January is their holiday month, but so all other 11 months, there is one tournament where you can play for gaining rating points, FIDE rating points, so like maybe under 2,000 group. And there is normally one tournament for the international master title, so that's around 2,300 level player tournaments. And there is one tournament for the grandmaster title with the average rating around 2,400. So these 3 tournaments normally runs every month. Sometimes for the lowest group, there are 2 groups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and people travel far and wide for these tournaments. Just off the top of my head, Kevin Go, who did an amazing interview on Perpetual Chess about his successful quest to earn the Grandmaster title. I know he played some First Saturday events. Of course, Eric Kislik, who lives in Hungary, and Mezgin Amanov, if you go way back in the archives, I know he got a norm or 2 there. So how is it, a Swiss or a round robin? I feel like I should know this, but I don't.
Round robin tournaments.
Okay. Yeah. So round robin, meaning everyone plays everyone, and also adding sort of fuel to the opening preparation fire, because people can prepare for you. So if you have a narrow repertoire, you better really know it. So that's when IM Turzo here discusses or says that's something he needs to think about. These are the kind of questions, like, do I prepare a surprise, or do I just go with what they would expect, sort of thing. But it'll be fun to track. So yeah, this will be out when the tournament's ongoing. And do you have a sense yet? I mean, since they're every month except for January, are you going to try to play every month, Attila?
We look how it goes. It's because of the family commitment, and also about, teaching. When normally there is a tournament, I will still probably teach in those days. So that will be
that's hard. Yeah.
The extra
it's one game per day?
1 game per day. So
that's good.
That's a little bit make it easier. So it's, we look how it goes, if it's, I would like to play every month. So that would be the ideal state, but to manage things also financially and family time, and it's the more likely is like less frequently in the beginning. But if things are going good, or maybe you have some support, or who knows what's going on, what will have this journey, then maybe that's possible to make it even every month.
Yeah, funny. I mean, I might end up talking about this. This is the first interview I'm recording of the 3. So it might come up in other conversations, but just yesterday, John Bartholomew was tweeting about how there needs to be some sort of mechanism to support people in their quest to earn titles. I, of course, feel like one of the big companies should support a reality show, but some people were floating the idea of like a Patreon or a Kickstarter. So yeah, funding is always the issue. And of course, when I interviewed FM Peter Giannatos of the Charlotte Chess Center, who they run the closest thing to First Saturday tournaments here in the U.S. And of course, St. Louis does some stuff too. But Hungary being a lot more compact, I feel like it's a lot more accessible necessarily for a Hungarian player, and it's a lot easier to attract international players in Europe than in the US because people aren't traveling as far. But Peter had mentioned what the cost was for players to play. And I was initially surprised that it's kind of expensive, but as I thought about it more, of course, it made sense. Roughly how much does it cost for the first Saturday tournaments?
I think it's maybe between like $300 and $500, I think.
Okay. Yeah. So not quite as expensive as the Charlotte ones, especially because you're in the privileged place of being able to sleep at home when you play in them. So just to wrap up, Attila, I feel like you have I don't consider this a competition. I want everyone who's chasing a title to get it, including, of course, the people I'm interviewing. But with the fact that you're the oldest of the three people we're interviewing, have the most rating points to gain, and don't have any norms, and you have a kid, so you've got a lot of marks that just make it more challenging, which will make it a greater achievement if you can do it. But I would say the one thing you do have going for you is living in Hungary and having these norm tournaments in your backyard is an amazing privilege, and can really, I hope, turbocharge your journey.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, so I'm super excited. Thanks for doing this interview, and keep us posted. So for people to keep up with what you're doing, there's your chess.com blog, you're active on Twitter, you're on Twitch. Is there anything else I should link to?
I have also a web page, which is kind of basic, but I plan to improve it and probably make maybe there my blog, or I'm thinking about how to make it more accessible, also like the journey for other people who are interested in. So probably that will be my web page also.
Okay, yeah, I've suggested before, and I know John Bartholomew, back when he was playing tournaments, he would do little vlogs from the tournament where he would just say, hey, I played so-and-so today, and you could see the pain in his face when he lost because it's fresh. You could see the joy when he won, and he would just talk about how he was feeling and spend maybe 10 minutes going through a game. So I know you've got a lot going on, but if you're up for it, that would be a fun kind of real-time way to track it.
We'll do. I have also a YouTube channel, so probably we'll add that also. Yeah, make some preparation, and thank you for the ideas also, because I want to make like this tournament, this kind of like trying out things, how to interact also with some fans or some people.
Yeah, and people want to know like what the tournament venue looks like, stuff like that. Like the first Saturday tournaments are so legendary, and a lot of people just probably will never make it. So the more detail you can provide, the better. But again, chess first in this case. Otherwise, work and family, and then chess. But Attila, thank you for your time, and we'll be rooting for you.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you very much all your other podcasts. I'm a big fan of you.
Thanks. That means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. Okay, and listeners, in addition to linking to all of Attila's information, I'll link to the standings in the first Saturday. No pressure, Attila, but just in case anyone wants to pop in and see how he's doing, because it will be ongoing, likely when this interview comes out. So thanks again, Attila, and I will see you on Twitter.
Okay, thank you.
Big shout out to Matthew Passy, my producer, been helping us for over 4 years. Much appreciated as always. I also would like to thank everyone who helped spread the word about the show, whether it be by word of mouth or a positive review on a podcast platform. I can't even keep track of all the platforms anymore, but every review is appreciated. I also wanted to remind you guys, you are always welcome to follow me or Perpetual Chess on social media. On Twitter, I'm at BennyFisher1. That's where I'm most active. We also have the Perpetual Chess Facebook group where we post every episode, and sometimes the guests chime in to continue the conversation. The Perpetual Chess Instagram page is unretired. Follow us at Perpetual Chess, where we post weekly clips. If you would like to email me, the easiest way is ben@perpetualchesspod.com. Also, of course, want to thank our sponsors, Chessable.com and ChessAim and Chessmood. Thanks for helping the cause, guys. Much appreciated, and great products that I'm proud to be affiliated with. Last but not least, of course, I want to thank all of our Patreon and PayPal supporters. I would like to give extra special thanks to the following people and entities: Chessable.com, David Lazarus of LazmanChess.com, Quality Chess Books, the Capital City Chess Club, the Abysmal Depths of Chess blog, Adapta Interactive Web Designs and Services, the Apprentice Twitch channel, Andrew Alharji, Andrew Bach, Aniti Deer, Austin Clough, Benjamin Porteau, Bill Sigler, Kathy Carr, Chad Oliver, the Charlotte Chess Center, the Chess Central's Chess Blog, Chessmood.com, Chris Flanagan, Chris Lott, Dan O'Hanlon, Daniel He, Danny Davidson, David Schreiber, I am Dimitri Schneider, I am Eric Rosen, Eric Tam, Ewan Richardson, Farhan Thawar, Faraz Sawaf, Gary Foreman, Glenn Downing, Greg Harst, I am Greg Shahadi, Gregory Galuk, Guven Manet, James Holyhead, James Kennedy, Jeff Martinson, Jens Green, Jeremy Nielsen, John Jernigan, John Rockefeller, John Cromartie, John MacArthur, Kelly Palmer, Kevin O'Callahan, King Selt, the King's Crusher YouTube channel, one of the OGs of chess YouTube, Lucio Casada Silva, the law offices of Stuart Katz, Matthew Feeney, Michael Can, FM Michael Oblin, Mike Zelazny, Mr. Mike Shahadi, the famous Mr. Dodgy, the Nerdnaze Twitch channel, Peter Sodi, the Playmore Chess Academy of the Hamden Chess Club, Reuven Fisher, Reverend Roy Fry, Seattle Chess Club, Shane Unger, Stefan Kelty, Stephen Martinez, Sven Gierson, Thomas Stanix, Thomas Tachenko, Todd Bryant of StrongChess.com, Todd Kennedy, The Vintage Patzers, which is a Chess.com improver group, Wayne Beam, William Hogarth, and I also would like to thank Aaron Waffler, Ace Viega, Adam Ralph of ChessEngland.com, Adrian Gutierrez, Alan and Maggie Sue, Alex Pejas, Alexander Markovitz, FM Andre Terakov, Dr. Andrew Perry, Angus McLeod, Barry Hessian, Bill Juniper, Bill Moran, Brad and Andy Rosen, Brett Howard Lynn, Brian Chase, Brian Mullis, Bruce Scott, Brian Tillis of Palm Beach Chess, Chad Hilton, Chess Patzer Spain, I'm not sure if that one's a real name, Dr. Charles Snodgrass, Chris Wainscott, Christopher Baumgartner, Christopher Chabris, Christopher Wood, I am Christoph Zalecki, aka Chess Explained, Coach J's Chess Academy, Corey Budson, Costa Caras, Courtney Fry, Craig Mallon, Daniel Ginsberg, Daniel Naylor, Dave Saylor, David Bleskotchek, David Brown, David Hamblin, David Cramley of Chessable.com, Dalen Shelton, Dennis Parrish, Dirk Durker, FM Donnie Ariel, Dwayne Edmonds, Ed Daly, Ed Mead, Emmanuel Langlois Robitaille, Ethan Smith, Hallelujah Cat, Ian Mason, Indrek Ryland, Felipe Melo Pereira, Fox Valley Chess Club, Francis Letarte Lavoie, Dr. Frank Tortoris, Frank Zananis, Gary Andrews, Gary Lewis, Geert Vandervelde, Gene Stewart, Gerard Barta, Giovanni Russo, Han Schrute, Harish Srinivasan, Howard Vihan, Jacob Kovac, Jason Apollo, Jason Murray, Jacques Perry, James Aspinwall, James Bonastia, James Muir, Jason Woolham, J.D. Chakrabarty, Jeff Anderson, Jeffrey Martello, Yep Hoyland, Jerry Wells, Jim Ratliff, Joe Valdez, Joel Thomas Ramos, John Tully, Juan Almagar, Dr. John Fallon, John Fernandez, John Fontaine, John Hartman, Jeff Jeffrey, John McMurtry, Jonathan Slater, John Quist, John Tully, Jose Rodriguez, Justin Gardner, Jen Shahadi, Joe Rocky, John Thompson, Josh Friedel, Kare Christensen, WGM, Katarina Nemtsova, Kelly Palmer, Kevin Pryor, Kior Gata of the Lakeshore Chess Club, I am Kostya Kovyutsky of the Chess Dojo, Krishna Gopala Krishnan, Kyle McAvoy, Larry Cook, Larry Ryforth, Laura Boyovsky, Macaulay Peterson, Mark Fitzpatrick, Mark Miller, Martin Knudsen, Martin Krug, Matthew Passy, Matthew Tedesco, Matthias Plock, Mechanics Institute of San Francisco, Michael Allard, Michael Hudson, Mike Clem, Mitchell Fabian, Nate Gabel, Nate Solon, Neil Bruce, Nigmat Mulajanov, Nicholas Isabel, Olaf Mueller-Michaels, GM Pascal Charbonneau, Passy Passanen, Paul Bain, Paul Clarkson, Paul Swaney, Paulo Santana, Peter Lux, Randy Temple, Ricky Grijalva, Richard Hallenbeck, Robert Tichy, Robert Turner, Rory Coleman, Roy Yearwood, Ryan Berg, the Say Chess YouTube channel, Scott Doherty, Scott McKinnon, Sebastian Finsterwater, Seth Ruzica, Shane Unger, Silver Knights in Richmond, Stefan Roller, WGM Tatyev Abrahamian, Tim Brennan of TacticsTime.com, Tim Seymour, Timothy Ha, Tom Edsel, Tomas Komanich, Tony Rotella, Tyron Price, Vishnu Srikumar, William Brock, William Peterson, FM Zhao Cheng of Chess1000.com, and Zhivko Stoyanov. Thanks, as always, for the support, everyone. I will catch you guys all next week.